Welcome, everyone, to another Conversations in the Void. I'm your host, Graveyard, joined, as always, with my off-screen producer, Salem. Make sure to say hi, Salem, into our chat. But I'm pleased to introduce our guest for tonight. He's a writer, director, actor, sound mixer with works including Cute Smile, The Couple, and The Shed. Please welcome to the Void, the one and only James Ridgley.
Hi, I cannot hear you.
You can't hear me? Uh-oh. Still can't hear me?
And I cannot hear me.
Uh-oh. We might have to have him leave and come back. 1 second.
Hello?
Can you hear me now?
I don't know what's going on.
1 second. All right, let me hit him up on Instagram. All right, another one of those days, I guess. But let's see. Can you hear me now?
Yes. How are you doing?
Awesome. Good. How about you?
I'm good. Fantastic. Here in Los Angeles, where it's 102 degrees today.
Oh, that's it? Lucky.
Probably not much compared to Las Vegas or all of Texas. I don't know.
I think I'd take the 102 versus the tornado we had come through here 2 weeks ago. but yeah, so James, welcome to the show. I'm introduced. So glad that you're here. Let's get into some of our getting to know you type of questions. And do you remember the first horror movie you ever watched was?
Well, I remember The Exorcist in theaters, of course.
Oh.
And I remember the biggest moment I've had up until that time in a horror movie was when that chest of drawers came right to camera.
Mm-hmm.
And before I knew it, my arm went up and I just let out something. I don't know if it was a scream or a gasp or something, but that fact my arm went up, it was like the biggest experience I've ever had. But that was, in a theater with a lot of people, and
yeah.
that was frightening. The Exorcist. I'm old, so I was around when it came out, in theaters. And, it was crazy.
Yeah, my parents, when they were dating, they said the three horror movies they've ever only watched was Rosemary's Baby, The Exorcist, and Jaws.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't imagine Exorcist in theaters. I've never seen it in theaters, but I wondered if it'd have the same reaction now as it did, 50 years ago.
No, I don't think so, because, our senses are deadened. We have too many incredible things in horror films that have come out. Like Weapons was amazing. These kids, the way they did that was unique, and that was crazy. Talk to Me, where they had the son start beating himself up.
Yep.
That was like next level. So certain things come along that keep pushing the envelope.
Yeah. And I like horror because it goes into, like, you can watch it from a certain time period and realize what their fears of society were at that point in time. Christianity was still pretty big with, Rosemary's Baby and Exorcist, and had to come back in the 80s as well. But it's now like, we haven't seen, surprisingly, a lot of post-pandemic horror films. And you think there'd be more by now. It's been a few years.
Yeah. Well, I'll file that away.
Yeah. But James, you were a comedian, you were a juggler, and was it something that you always wanted to do, was to be an entertainer?
Yeah, well, what happened was the last year of high school, I had seen this at the Renaissance Fair, these rope walkers,
Hmm.
and I wanted to learn how to do that. And then um, because of the high school I went to, we had this show for us. It was kind of a school within a school. And it kind of had Earhart seminar training and group therapy. It was like
Huh.
very innovative. It was
Yeah.
called Innovative Program School, IPS. And they had with this opening of the semester performance, and it was this rope walker named Jay. I don't remember his last name. And I didn't even know he had a belly dance troupe, a male belly dance troupe.
Huh.
And he did a rope walking thing as part of this show. And it reminded me, that I've got to do this. And I already knew an old friend who was a juggler, Hillary Carlip, and I contacted her to find out where I could get rope walking equipment. She seemed to know something about it. Anyway, I ended up hooking up with somebody, and in the meantime, trying to get a rope to walk on.
Yeah.
I learned juggling, and I loved it, and I knew that this was my path. I wasn't going to go to college, and I knew this would be my path. And each 20 years, I go into a whole new profession, but I go into it, in this way where I devour it. I go for I
Yeah.
used to juggle and practice 8 to 10 hours a day all the time, every single day,
Hmm.
and then performances. And anyway, I built that career, traveled around the world a couple of times, and then I was writing screenplays, went to film school
Hmm.
because I couldn't sell a screenplay. This is when you would do it through snail mail,
Right. Right. Yeah.
and then out of there I became a production sound mixer because I already knew about college radio and a lot of different things
Okay.
about microphones, pickup patterns.
Yeah.
So I had a 20-year or more career doing that, still trying to get my screenplays out and making a short film or two and documentary and
Hmm.
some other things.
Yeah, yeah. It's you sound like the same way I go when I go into my hobbies. My wife goes, "You go whole hog into your hobbies." I go, "Correct. I want to make sure I have everything I need to do it the best way possible."
Yeah.
And she's like, "Okay, but you can't start a new one until you get rid of your stuff from the one you don't do anymore." I go, "That's
Yeah.
fair. That's
Well,
fair."
I always wanted to be a filmmaker, and I'll say that 20 years on set, hundreds and hundreds of sets, made it possible for me to be able to do my own films
Hmm.
on a set of me and a DP and sometimes a boom operator and a grip or two. And because I've lived and breathed that space. I can be 30 hats. I can
Right.
do the production designing. I could do the sticks. I could organize, hey, it's time for your scene, and I get the meals and I mean,
Yeah.
I have to do everything because I'm self budgeting these micro budget features. And, but I will be proud to say that during my time as a sound mixer, I won a, Emmy certificate as a production sound mixer. And I also worked on, oh, I worked on Avatar for a
Yeah.
short time. That pretty big movie you might have
Yeah.
heard of.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I also did a great horror movie called Dead End with Lynn
Mhm.
Shay and Ray Weiss.
Yes.
And that is a great movie. And I was right there for all of it, being the
Oh
production
man.
sound mixer.
Yeah.
And yeah, that influenced me because I knew eventually I'd be making my own movies, and
Mhm.
working with this French director was really fun, and we got along really, really well. It was just an amazing shoot.
Yeah, Dead End. Yeah, we I've watched that. I watched it when it came out, and then we do another show where we review horror movies, and that was on our list. And you're essentially it's four people trapped on the road that they can't seem to get off of, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a lot of sound, and capturing the sound with people kind of in the car had to be with the right mics. I'm sure it's great, but it's something I've never had to deal with myself. But
yeah.
was it more different from being outside an enclosed space versus like in a
Yeah,
soundstage?
I mean, because the car was moving. I've done a bunch of other movies where you're doing audio, a poor man's process inside of a studio, and that's
Mhm.
great. But nowadays, like in my movies, I had to do a car scene, and and I thought we'd use my car, but we ended up using my DP's car, and I didn't know it was louder than hell, you know. But thank God now they have, you know, things that just get rid of it with a click of a mouse, you know.
Yeah.
So it can be difficult, but nowadays the cleanup is virtually easier than ever.
Yeah, yeah. I make micro budget indie horror films too, and it's
Hmm.
just like we do a lot of stuff outside, you know, where we can, inside houses. So we have to be very cautious with like the acoustics of a old empty house and what that sounds like, because
Yeah.
you know, you hear, we all wear many hats just because there's a small group of us, but like any footstep, any cough from a different room, like, okay, we have to scrap the scene, we have to reshoot it, reset up. And
Yeah.
it's just amazing what everything that these microphones are able to pick up now too.
Yeah. Yeah. They're very sensitive. They're great.
Yeah. And so you worked with back in the day of having to do essentially analog versus the digital, assistant with it too, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the first movies that I was a production sound mixer on,
Yeah.
I had a one-track reel-to-reel Nagra machine,
Okay.
and it's one track. So, and people knew how to lit for film. It was all film, 35 millimeter
Yeah.
films, you know, and people knew how to light for films for a boom pole to be able to get dialogue. It was a given. Now it's a given that you have wireless mics and you can mic anyone in any situation, and who cares what the lights are going to do.
Right.
So I grew up in that environment to eventually to multi-track. You know, you have 10 ISO tracks and 2 mix tracks, you know, on a 788 sound devices, you know,
Yeah.
recorder. So, and then, you know, in my movies too, maybe I save money because I'm an accomplished, you know, sound mixer. I could do it in my sleep. So I wrap that thing around my neck, and I'm doing sound on all my movies, but they're good. I mean, you know, it's good sound. I know what to do. And
Yeah.
usually I'll get a boom op. In my last movie, The Shed, which is now in post-production,
Mhm.
I felt like I it was one more thing I didn't want to deal with is getting a boom op, because I was begging my friends to come in for very low rate, you know, to do a day or two or three. And now I had it up to here or whatever. And so I did it all with lavs. Just
Oh wow.
I don't think
Yeah.
I boomed anything.
Yeah, yeah, we've been using lavs recently. Like our last film that we shot earlier this month, like we even set up, so finally we were able to watch everything from the camera, and we had it projecting to our phones. So we were able to see the direction and talk to our guy like, hey, we like this a little bit more to the left, a little bit here, and able to do more stuff in real time. So setting up our shots, our set list was, our takes were so few and far because we already had everything that all the directors and the writers and the production team were able to see.
Huh. Okay.
So yeah, it was a lot of fun, but man, it made things a lot easier.
Uh-huh. How cool. How
Yeah.
cool. So you're making films too. I don't know if you're like I am, but you know, I'm probably on the spectrum. And a film I did make, which wasn't a horror, was about my children who grew up very extremely high functioning, but still
Hmm.
on the spectrum. And I did a coming of age dramedy based on those personal stories called A Natural Disorder of Things. But what I love, I think that's my favorite movie I've made. But what I love about horror is like there's the practical effects are such a different story, like in what all has to go in a row to make it work.
Yeah.
And I still in my bedroom, we had a in my comedy horror, The Couple,
Yeah.
which has a distributor now, and it won't be out until next year. The distributors tell me there's such a backlog. But anyway, um, we had blood. It was a comedy, and we had blood coming out of two of our girls' heads who just threw these glass jars against each other
Yeah.
and beer bottles, and it's this big comedic smashing of the heads, and then the blood comes out the top. Well, the first blood mixture was so thin that when he pushed the thing for it to come up, it went like in half a second up onto my ceiling, and it was like a four shot thing, like
Yeah.
divided, and it's still there. I had to paint my living room from all the blood from another scene where someone gets killed with a bowling ball.
Yeah.
Same thing in the couple, and it took me like 8 coats in the blood areas to get it out because, you know, it just whatever.
Yeah. Oh no, no, it's fun. Like, you know, we shot a film a couple years ago where we shot it in my garage and someone's heart was cut out. We still have the blood stain on the garage floor. Just because it's on the chair too. My wife's like, "You didn't clean it up?" Go, no. I think I'll leave it.
You see these blinds behind me?
Yeah.
There are still little pieces of blood, even though I spent 3 days trying to clean it all out. I just couldn't do it anymore. You can see these windows.
Yeah.
And their blood splatter.
Well, it's what you do to get a shot, and practical is always going to be messy in comparison to CGI. It really is, but in my opinion, it will look 10 times better, 100 times better, all practical versus done on the computer. I don't think the computer is even close to fluid dynamics yet.
Well, it's funny though. I just had a 4-hour session with my effects guy to do some blood effects that I don't think were good enough, but also ones that we knew in post we had to do because something goes through a person's head and then out the back, it was so obvious it was a, you know, polyester, whatever, prosthetic thing that we knew we had to cover up those parts. And we've gone through different iterations, and because certain parts of the blood were in a dark area, it's called The Shed. This is my movie, The Shed.
Yeah.
So my guy said, well, it's so dark, and this is like a 3/4 of a second shot, but we got to get this blood just to see it. So he did it a little neon red. Now, that wasn't too bad, I don't think, for that shot. But then we went to the other shots, and it was still kind of this neon red. And I had gotten used to it. And so I had other people tell me what they thought of the shots, and they went, geez, it's so fake because it's just too bright. So we had 4 hours today because we went through it as we talked. Not 4, it was actually a little over 2. And but we went through the shots to darken them all up and make some of the blood flow better because it wasn't as natural and stuff. And it's a lifesaver in a way, you know. Because if you just can't get everything, you have another place to try to improve it.
But I mean, you're still using the VFX as an enhancement to what you were able to capture on the film versus everything just being like, here's a head and here's the pipe that comes out, or rubber comes out, right? So you try to capture as much in camera as you can, which I think is just the art form of indie horror. It really is. You know, it's not everyone's in front of a green screen. You're able to capture all that stuff like that. But I know in the past you worked on comedies because you were a comedian juggler, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, so do you have like a preference when you're writing and filming for comedy? Or do you select to stick to horror? You kind of like just mix it up across the board?
Okay, well, here's the thing, and you know, horror fanatics might go boo, boo, boo to me because I kind of jumped into horror because I knew it would make money. And that doesn't mean I don't like it, you know, and I forced myself. I mean, come on, I'm a writer. I've written in like, you know, 5 different genres. I have a whole bunch of action comedy scripts. I have a female superhero action comedy script. So I've written a lot of comedy, and I have like 3 other comedy horror scripts too. I was always interested in horror. It was just one of the many genres. But to do a straightforward horror, that did take a different exercise for me. And the Shed is more of a straight horror, but it has a subplot of romance, and it's about a retired baseball player finding a second chance at love. And so it goes very much with themes that I'm, you know, inherently drawn to and also living. And that's why I can make kind of the movies I do, is because because they're I hate to say passion projects because it means, well, you work on them for free. And yes, I hope you will work on them for free until I can get my career going and then pay. Or if I make money on it, I definitely give the back end. I mean, that doesn't bother me. It's being able to have that passion enough to go through all the steps and mostly by myself.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, it took months to get deliverables together because I had so much trouble just exporting the sound in a way that a production post sound person can do what they needed to do. And I mean, just there's always troubles, it's always one step away. Should I put a light on? Am I getting too dark?
No, you're good. You're good.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I mean, post-production is the most time consuming. Like when we put our movies out there for the QA for Amazon or for Screenbox or wherever, they're like, you have to have all these requirements. Like this scene didn't work. This is too low here for a sound. And it's still a continuous tweak to make that QA for the release. And it's more, I think there's more pre and post than there is filming.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. And I don't know if you're lucky enough to sometimes get rehearsals for your actors. No. Okay. Well, I tell you, it does wonders. It's really great if you can get it. And some projects don't need it because of the way the characters are. I mean, really, that's bullshit. But if they're characters that are thrown in a situation that they don't know each other, then maybe it's almost better that they haven't gotten to know each other and become friendly enough that they lose the intimacy of what it means to be involved with a stranger in a high threatening atmosphere.
Usually, though, we've done some of our films is we have a weekend Airbnb for everyone there, so we're all kind of living together while we're filming. So we are able to build that relationships if they need to be there. Because if you have a documentary crew that's supposed to be working on 100+ episodes, they need to know each other, right? To sell their characters. And so that's why we typically like to reuse some of the same actors. Our crew's always the same, but our cast, we like to get some of the same people just because we know how they work, they know how we work, and we're able to move through this and then help guide our new cast to the way we run things.
Where are you? I don't even know what area of
Chicago area.
Okay. All right, cool. I did the Chicago Fest and the Milwaukee Summer Fest as a juggler. I did King Richard's Fair for 5 years in a row.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, way back in the day. I love Chicago. I love that area. Kenosha and oh God, what's that hippie little town? Oh man, I did a street fair there once. I forget it now. Evanston, the Evanston Street Fair.
Yep.
I love that. I had a great time.
Yeah. Now, do you find it easier now that you said you're trying to sell your scripts since like the 80s and 90s? Now that you're able to do it yourself, do you think it's just because filmmaking as an independent has become easier as a whole over the past couple of decades?
No. It's impossible to sell a script for any decent money. The number of people that sell screenplays, you have to be right place, right time, or a genius or something. And when I said I'm going to make my own films, I buckled down and I wrote personal stories I knew I could write quickly because I know everything involved.
Yeah.
And I wrote for my house and as cheap as I can do it because when I did crowdfunding, I got a few $1,000s. And there's no way, I need at least 10 to make the kind of things I'm making. And that's with getting, very minimal paid actors or free actors and, all that stuff. It's usually $3,000 just for food.
Yep.
For a 10 to 15 day shoot.
Yeah.
Kind of a thing. So when I did that, I knew that these scripts were not the type of scripts that I have been writing for 30 years that I was going to sell, for the big payoff. I mean, I couldn't make those. And now that I'm on my 4th directorial feature, actually I'm I'm prepping to do a fifth one because I just can't stop, and I'm going to I'm casting now, which is again very difficult because someone else is going to help me do it, and then they backed out, and so now I have to do it. But I had to write what I knew I could direct. That was the most important thing. My other films, if they said, "Oh, you get to direct this one," I'd be like, "Oh my, are you? This has action and comedic, you know, sequences that are crazy. I don't know how to direct those." And now the way I'm doing things, I think I could be, but
Yeah.
I doubt I'm going to be given that unless this podcast gets me off into a career trajectory.
I hope so.
You
I hope
you
so.
feel the pressure here, right?
Yeah, I do. But yeah, but I get what you're saying. We shoot within our budgets, but my co-host and producer, he's like, he has this really great story, and we looked at it and go, this is $1 million or $2 million budget. I would absolutely love to shoot his film for that,
Yeah.
but it's just like it's if we could do that, it'd be awesome. But
I've gotten a grocery store for $17 an hour for a 3-hour shoot.
oh wow.
I got a boba place for $60 all in for a 3-hour shoot because I knew them. And I got 2 horses on a ranch for a full day for $280.
That's not bad.
And that's because the ranch was run by a group helping autistic children, and that's what my story was about. It was my autism story, and maybe that helped. I don't know. I mean, I think it helped, but to be able to do that was like a tremendous boon for me to be able to make those films and have some scenes that are not in my house. I mean, you look at my house. This is in like 4 different movies.
Yep.
Of mine.
Yeah, but like I said, but that's what makes it fun. I always joke with my wife and my other friends, like, if I win the lottery, I'm buying a multiple acre property.
Yes.
I can film everything I want to film at. We're gonna have a separate house that's just for filming. We're gonna have a forest. We're gonna have a sound stage, just to do all that stuff, just to have fun with it.
Yeah.
It's. Like I said, as you're doing it, it's your passion, and when your passion is in your film, people can see it. I think that's what a lot of mainstream Hollywood films are missing now. They're there for the quick buck. You can feel that versus independent. That's why I do independent stuff on this channel, is because that's where the creative stories are coming in. That's where more passion is being shown. And if they happen to make the next Backrooms, so be it. But in the meantime,
well, my latest film that I'm in prep for, not in post, that's the other one, in prep for is a challenge I wanted to make, is how can I make a crime thriller in my house, again, with what I have.
Yeah.
So I have an RV parked in my front yard. I've integrated that into the script.
Okay.
A person lives there. I have a guest house, and that house is going to be a big time Hollywood music producer's office. When we drive up into the hills and then we establish it, then we're shooting it right in my backyard in the guest house.
Yeah.
And I've written everything to be in my house, but I've written it to be a femme fatale kind of noir thriller, but current, not 1940s or anything.
Right.
And so part of that challenge is, how can I don't have a long hallway. Can I make that, thrilling and scary, or, even in the shed, the horror movie, I have my character go from the bedroom through my living room, which is I'm looking at right now.
Yeah.
And how can I shoot it so that it looks longer and slower and creepier and scarier than it really is? And so those are elements that, I face at this level to even be able to do films.
Yeah. But no, like I said, anyone that can make a film, I'll take my hat off, but it's blinding baldness. It's a lot of work that goes into making a film, especially said at the independent level. You said you were in 30 different hats because you have to do all those things, because it'd be great to have one person for every single job, but that's just way too much money.
Well, a friend of mine who was an actor, he's big construction kind of guy. And we were talking about acting and whether I had a project that I can make from him because he lived in the neighborhood and knew what I was doing. And since then, he's really made a success in what he's doing. And he has 2 kids that are getting commercial work, And we had a talk, and he says he wants to put 100 or more grand into a feature. And what do you have? And let's do something. And I'm like, wow, that's really fantastic. And in the interim of meeting with him, he said, he told me about the kids. I've known the kids, I've met them. We don't hang out, I'm not friends, but I mean, and so I actually wrote a script. I mean, I just went all out and wrote a script for them 2 as leads that I think could work out. And I haven't gotten back to him yet on it because it all just kind of happened the last month and a half, you know. And we'll see if it happens, but that's what I would love for anyone who has a couple of 100,000 want to come in, and then I can get like a real crew, which would alleviate a lot of things I have to do in the meantime. But and then focus on really writing, directing. And then when it comes out, I'm a pretty good editor, so I don't mind editing, or if there's money, get another editor and I can work with them,
Yeah.
That's the goal.
I hope that happens for you, James. I really do. Just
we'll see. It's right now I need 1,000 subscribers on my YouTube channel. I only have 75, so I can try to get something going on my YouTube channel also. But it's a slog.
It's a lot of work. It really is, trust me. All right, James, we're getting some roundup questions here. I gotta ask, of course, what's your favorite scary movie?
My favorite scary movie.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Lately, I would have to say Weapons. Oddly, I haven't even seen it. I did see it a second time. I'm sorry, but that just like was one of those moments, like when Talk to Me. Is it called Talk to Me? When I saw that. But there's another film, and I don't know what the title is. It's about it takes place almost all inside. It's a cadaver that's being taken apart in what's that? An autopsy.
Autopsy of Jane Doe with Brian Cox. With Brian Cox.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. That I wish I made that. As far as a horror film goes.
Yeah.
I really wish I made that. That is a really well done, and great actors. Yeah, Brian Cox and the other lead, the younger lead guy.
Is that Eldridge?
I forget, man. But
I think is he the one that played Han Solo? I think so.
But anyway, it's a great film, and I'm sure that's I think it's an independent type film, and what a marvelous surprise! Like everything kept being surprising, but still with the horror conventions kind of all intact,
For sure. All right, James, I gotta ask, of course, practical or CGI?
Practical, baby.
Yeah, that's what I like to hear. I said we've done 150-ish of these shows. 148 have said practical. So we won't yell at those 2 people that said CGI. If you could work in an existing IP or franchise, what would it be?
Oh, man, that's weird. I don't even. I'm not one of these big franchise kind of people. I mean, my comedy person would have loved to have made Stuck on You or Zoolander.
Oh,
my comedy persona. If I had a chance to work on that, and I don't think I even saw Zoolander 2. So, that's hard for a comedy. But for existing IP, I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm gonna.
It's all right. It's all right.
Flunk out on that.
I would love to make an Evil Dead film.
Okay.
I especially after watching the last one that came out. I think I could do
it. I wouldn't want to work on another Spider-Man. I think there's been too many incarnations, but whatever. I mean, there's one out now. I have no idea who's in it or what it is.
I haven't watched it yet, unfortunately, either, but let's plan on it. Then life happened. But all right, James, any advice for people getting into the world of either comedy or juggling or showbiz as a whole?
How do you get into that world?
Any advice for people getting into it?
Well, if you wanted to be a juggler, you better practice a lot, and if you want to add comedic stuff to it, you better come up with something original, man. I was a mediocre act, I'll tell you, and I know that, but I had, I bought a house with the career. I found a wife with the career. I went all over the world with a career virtually for free, and had some of the best times having huge audiences laugh at it. That's why I became a filmmaker, is I was able to sculpt a comedy act in the way of a 3-act structure or whatever, with the payoffs and the intros and everything involved, that it just grew out of that, knowing that how to do an act. I mean, it's really fundamental stuff in the entertainment. And so just do what you have to do. I mean, I did so many open mic nights, doing comedy around LA especially. But I did tours of comedy clubs throughout the Midwest and worked with, big names. But you have to do it. And I think if you're in LA, you got to be willing to go on at 2 a.m., when there's 3 drunk people and a passed out, whatever,
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's good, though. That's good. I mean, can you out juggle Penn Jillette?
Oh, no, we used to we did the Renaissance Fair part of the Renaissance Fair circuit together, way back in the day when they were doing a Renaissance Fair in the day, and at night they would do a theater show in whatever town they were in. And so they were able to really, really work on that. But as far as filmmakers go, God, the tools are all there. If you're willing to, if you're going to write the script, that is a big thing. Because you should go through development stages, other people giving you notes after notes after notes, and then getting professional notes on top of that, so that you really have a script that, that isn't just like, oh God, I wrote this great script and it's fantastic because I made it and I spent all these hours. It doesn't mean it's good at all. You really have to get it through structured and professional voices who will tell you, if it's good and where it could be made better, or get a script that's already good, but get on set. If I didn't have 20 years on sets, I wouldn't be able to know how to work a set in my subconscious, just having it happen. And then find out where you can get free things. I mean, I have a Facebook group, Buy Nothing, and it's Buy Nothing and then whatever your city name is. And I got props and furniture and rugs and just, everything to make films that I need. Like here, all this stuff in the background, this stuff, I mean, just like the couch I'm on, everything I've gotten through by my Buy Nothing. And I trade up couches. I had a psychiatrist office in my living room, and I got this great old-fashioned antique couch almost for it. And it worked 2 films. That set I did in 2 different films, and it's fantastic. It's in The Couple, because the couple went to a therapist. It's all part of
that's awesome. Yeah, I like to go to I go to a lot of flea markets and stuff like that just to find stuff really cheap. I'm working on an anthology show called Decades of Horror, and we got I got authentic pen and ink from the 1920s for the 1920 segment. Yeah, I was shocked too. So that's what we're trying to do, is trying to get as much as we possibly can.
See, you could have done all that in CGI.
Could have, but no.
I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding.
Oh yeah. Like I said, I even have a VHS camcorder for the 80s and 90s one that we're doing.
Yeah,
and I'm going to record
those
on
are
VHS.
great touches. Great touch. Yeah. I had to get a dial phone for my feature because this guy, I wanted everything to go toward, this is an old man He's retired baseball player. He doesn't care about anything out in the external world. And he has this old freaking dial phone.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I'm all about those kinds of touches, especially when they create a character. You know, I had a mother in another character, a mother in another film, that I wanted to make her as a woman who's intelligent and thought and, you know, independent enough that I showed whatever her area is, had a portrait, this painting that I got for free, a portrait of a woman who is like that. And I had that right square in her space of where she
Yeah.
does her thing. And, you know, it's great.
Awesome. Are you ready for your random trivia question, James?
Yes.
All right. Let's see here. Keanu Reeves stars in what 1997 supernatural horror film about a lawyer who sells himself to the devil?
Something with the devil. Isn't Al Pacino in that?
Yes.
It's something with the devil. Devil's Night Out.
Close.
The devil who knows where you sleep at night. The one badass devil.
There you go. Would you like to know?
Sure.
Devil's Advocate.
Devil's Advocate, of course.
Yes.
I can see the poster now.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think I saw that just a month ago, besides seeing it several years ago, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, great movie.
Awesome, James. Before we go, give us your pluggables. Where can people find you if I learn everything about you and JR Films?
Okay, so jamesridgleyfilms.com is one place, Ridgley. And then my YouTube channel, please subscribe, but you got to find the right one. There's 2 James Ridgleys, I don't know how this happened, that are me, and one has 75 subscribers, the other has 2. So you'll know the difference when you see that there's many videos. And there's a couple other James Ridgley. One is a filmmaker and one's something else. So, you know, you have to try to find me. And, you know, what can I say? I have The Couple. I have Natural Disorder of Things. You can find those trailers on my YouTube channel. And The Shed, I have a rough trailer of The Shed on there. I've got to finish the various things to make a good trailer.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, when your stuff comes out, you tag us at PodOutatNight. We'll blast it everywhere for you as well to get as many eyes as we possibly can.
Great. Thank you. And it was a great time.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Graveyard.
Yes. I said my real name's stupidly long, so I just go by Graveyard, so it's a lot easier. So
is it Grab Nefarious Yard to Narcostickington?
Close to it, yeah. A little bit more Dutch though.
Oh, okay, Dutch.
All right. Well, thank you, James. And for anyone new here, follow us on social media at PodOutatNight. We'll see you next time. And don't get
Thank you very much.
All right. Good night.
Great times for all of you.